Wood, California. Dennis Wood, good to see you as well. Welcome, everybody. Dr. Ben Gallagher here, F8 Well Centers, snowy Denver. Yeah, we're up in Fort Collins, and we've got some moisture, a little bit, but not much snow. You're kidding me, I'm from Wisconsin and have been suffering from Sjogren's and Hashimotos. Awesome. So here's the deal. Let me go into a quick story, and then we can get into all the questions. So autoimmune is stoppable. How do I know that? Because I have seen many patients stop their body from attacking its own tissue. And fortunately, even some people reverse that. You have some patients that have had MS that their MRIs now have either no plaque or less plaque than what they had. So we see this all the time. Welcome, everybody. Pop down below where you're watching from. I'll give you a shout out. And any questions at all health related, put them in there. Maybe some election related questions. No, nobody wants politics at this point. So put any questions down below, but let's especially talk about the immune system, talk about autoimmune. So here's the deal. My mom had full-blown MS. When I was in high school, she got diagnosed with MS, had to go on disability. She was a school teacher, teacher of the year, amazing, worked from 5:30 in the morning till 5:30 at night. She was gone. And so here's what happened. She got a cane, she got a wheelchair. She went down this path of really not doing well at all. And we thought, man, that might be the end. You know, she's probably gonna die in the next 5 to 10 years. And so this was well over 20 years ago. Fortunately, even before the term functional medicine was a thing, she found a doctor that started going through, working on the gut, working on the brain, working on the inflammation, all these different things, and got to the point where she gave away her wheelchair, gave away her cane, got off all the drugs, and her last MRI showed no more plaquing. Her body actually reversed the MS that was going on and reversed that autoimmune. So it not only stopped it, but it was able to reverse that. So we see this all the time, and we've gone on and done this with so many of our patients. So autoimmune is stoppable, meaning you can stop that from flaring up, but it's also reversible for certain people in certain conditions. Sure, yeah, I had a lady, she came in with rheumatoid arthritis that attacked her elbow, could not bend it, and we weren't going to reverse that, but totally doable for some other things. So we have on POV. Hello, Dr. Ben. Does Epstein-Barr virus mean that EBV was in the past and could be settled in the thyroid tissue and must be cured in the case of Hashimoto's? So here's the deal. One of the things that we see that drives a lot of autoimmune is actually what's called Epstein-Barr virus. And that Epstein-Barr virus is going to be the monovirus. And if you had the kissing disease, whatever in high school, if you had that mono, it is Epstein-Barr virus, and it never really goes away. And for some people, it can actually sit there and be this drag on the immune system. And the research is showing that MS, rheumatoid arthritis, type 1 diabetes, a lot of these autoimmune conditions actually have EBV in its foundational part of it. So we see this all the time that yes, if you have Hashimoto's, there's a very good chance that you had Epstein-Barr virus. The way that you look for a virus, write this down, is if your white blood cell count is under 5, and if your lymphocytes are over 38%. If those two things are happening, very good likelihood you have had this chronic viral infection. So again, welcome everybody. Put your comments, put your questions down below. So does that Epstein-Barr virus need to be dealt with? Well, here's the deal. There's no like magic, take a bunch of lysine, take a bunch of antiviral things that are going to fix that. So you know, we can't just go in and say, oh yeah, take these antivirals and you're gonna be fixed. We've got to build the body up. So if you have Hashimoto's and there's infection, we've got to build up the adrenals and get the gut lining fixed and get the blood sugar balanced out, all these different things, and the body's going to be able to handle those viruses better. So great question there. Marissa, thanks for the share. And we've got hello from Guana, did a complete hysterectomy. What advice can you give health-wise? So complete hysterectomy is instant menopause. So now ovaries make about 50% of your testosterone. And so you take out ovaries, you've got a lot less testosterone. The other 50% coming from your adrenal glands. So if your adrenals and your ovaries, your adrenals are fatigued and your ovaries are gone, you're going to have almost zero testosterone. You've got to look into estrogens and some of those things. So a complete hysterectomy, especially if you're young, in your 20s, 30s, you may need some type of hormone replacement. I would look into bioidentical hormone replacement, but you've got to make sure the adrenals are working as well as feasibly possible, because if your blood sugar's off and you're chronically stressed and all that and your adrenals aren't working and you don't have ovaries, no testosterone, no muscle tone, no libido, things along those lines. Old person, undetected, but bone loss crazy and kidney disease stage 3, never told until stage 3. This is Bridget. So you're an old person. Bone loss like crazy. So think about this with bones. With bone loss, we're losing bone all the time. So bone is broken down every single day, and then bone is built back up every single day. And if those are equal, you have the same amount of down and you have the same amount of up, things are going to be okay. But it's when you break down but you don't build up enough, that's actually when the problem is. And so one of the most common things that we see for this, it's not a calcium deficiency, it's not, because you don't have enough vitamin D and K and those things, it's because you're not doing enough weight-bearing exercise. So an astronaut comes back from space and they have osteoporosis. If they've been sitting up in the space station for 100 days or something, they are going to be having osteoporosis because they have not had that pressure, that weight-bearing exercise on their body. So you need to do some weight-bearing exercise. Yoga is not weight-bearing exercise. Spin class is not weight-bearing exercise. Doing a walk a little bit, but you need to be doing some weight, some type of heavy, for you, weight-bearing exercise. Let's see, 65-year-old woman, fit golfer, walk every day, wake up with sore finger, joints, pain, both knees. So here's the deal. Just because you're fit, just because you golf, just because you walk, doesn't mean that you're doing well with inflammation metabolically. You can't out exercise, you can't out golf, you can't out walk a poor diet. And you may not have a poor diet compared to 90% of the US population, but I almost guarantee your diet is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. And so when your diet is off, when your blood sugar's out of balance a little bit, when you're eating foods that are more inflammatory, all these things that even potentially have leaky gut, other areas, you will have more inflammation. And we see people that are bone on bone and they need to go get a knee replacement. We get their inflammation down, we get their weight coming down, and they feel so much better. They don't need that knee replacement. They can push it off because that inflammation has come down. So I always say you can't out exercise a poor diet, and a poor diet doesn't mean you're having to eat at McDonald's. A poor diet means that your blood sugar isn't where it needs to be, and it's going up too high and too low, that you're creating inflammation, that your digestion isn't quite where it needs to be. So you've got to look into that inflammatory process going on in there. So again, Dr. Ben Gallagher here, F8 Well Centers, and we are in Colorado as well as Tennessee, and we work with patients all over the country. We have labs everywhere throughout the US, and we can get blood work drawn locally, and you can get those results back. We sit down, one of my F8 doctors will sit down with you and talk you through exactly what is going on there. So put your questions down below. We've got 41 more comments here, so I'm going to try to get some of these. Bridget, can fibromyalgia be reversed? So I love this question. Fibromyalgia, remember, is not a disease. It's not a infection. It's not a thing where a certain organ system is out of balance. Like hypothyroid is low thyroid function, and if your thyroid is not kicking out enough thyroid hormone, that's a thing. But fibromyalgia is not a thing, it's a label. And not to say it's made up or in your head or anything. People have tremendous pain, people have tremendous fatigue, they've got pain spots, they've got all these things, and then they get labeled fibromyalgia, but that's not going to fix or change anything. Then they put them on an antidepressant, or they give them anti-inflammatories, different things. So what do we have to look at? Fibromyalgia has reasons why. And this is what I want you to think about with every condition out there, is you've got to get to the why. So what are the adrenals doing? What is the blood sugar doing? What's the gut lining doing? Is the microbiome out of balance? Is the thyroid working like it's supposed to? All of these different things. So can fibromyalgia be reversed? That label of fibromyalgia, 100% absolutely can be reversed. And that is totally doable, because you get to the underlying root causes of why that inflammation is there. So absolutely, that fibromyalgia can be reversed. Let's go over here. Internet vitamin D levels were really low on my last screening, but I've since learned vitamin D can cause calcification in the artery. So my question is, do I need to take K2 with the D supplement? So Gloria, for years we just did vitamin D. Some of the research has come out showing that it's better absorbed with K2, some of the calcification things. So our vitamin D has K2 in it. It basically doesn't change the cost at all. So you might as well take K2 with that vitamin D. Do you work with chronic kidney disease, specifically C3G? So here's the deal. And you guys all have some kind of weird disease that you know somebody or yourself has, and all these things. But I want you to think about more of the philosophy, as opposed to, yes, we work, half of our patients have chronic kidney disease. Well, we've worked with some patients with chronic kidney disease, but there's no magic. Here's this herb, here's this juice you're going to do that's going to fix chronic kidney disease. You have to go in and help the rest of the body work as feasibly well as possible. If that's an autoimmune condition, then you've got to go in and you've got to calm down that inflammatory system. Vitamin D needs to be close to 80. You've got to fix the adrenals, the blood sugar. You've got to work on leaky gut, help the liver process things out. All of these different things need to be addressed. So it doesn't matter if it's chronic kidney disease or if it's any other things. You've got to address the body as a whole. Yes, there's a few specific conditions out there that we can, let's fine tune and tweak a couple little things, but everything we look at, if you're going to work with somebody at FA, we are going to get your whole body working as well as feasibly possible. And in the process, we'll work on the kidneys and whatever else it is, but your whole body is going to get as healthy as possible. And we're not just going to pull out and go, here's your magic kidney formula there. And hey, Jerry, good to see you yesterday. And what's the best way to go about finding a good functional medicine doctor in your area? So I'm not sure about all that. It depends on what area you're in. We've got patients in small town Nebraska and Wyoming and Kentucky and all over the place. They're not going to have a functional medicine doctor anywhere close to them. So we work remotely with people all over the country. If you're in Portland or New York City or whatever, it's going to be hard to say, because so many people can slap on this label of functional medicine, but they really are not doing it. So they can do a weekend seminar. They can be a nutritionist. They can just be somebody that wants to sell a whole bunch of supplements and go, hey, here's this bag of 20 supplements. Every time you go in, you get 5 more and 5 more and 5 more. And so here's what I want you to do. If you're going to interview somebody, which you need to do, you need to look at reviews, you need to interview that doctor, see if they're a good fit. You need to go in and say, okay, what is your philosophy on how my body's going to heal and how you're going to help that heal? If they say, we're going to give you enough supplements and your body's going to get better. Here's the deal. You cannot out-supplement all these other issues, poor diet, bad blood sugar, all these things. You've got to go in and if they say, yes, we're a systems-based approach, and we're going to go through each and every one of your systems that's out of balance and stressed and give it support and change that diet and change the supplementation, all these things, then yes, that is a type of doctor you want to work with. Fortunately, we work with patients all over the country, and even out of the country as well. We have offices in Colorado and Tennessee, and then virtually we work with patients everywhere. So hope that helps. When does one get shingles shot? So Bridget, here's the deal with shingles. Shingles is a virus, just like that Epstein-Barr virus that we were talking about. And for everybody jumping on, click down below and click that in the bio there. And we've got all of our links: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the different channels that we're on, over 700 videos on YouTube explaining all these different things that we're going. My goal is to give as much information that you can get your health back. If you go through everything that we've got, you're going to be able to get your health back. And we also work with patients all over. There's a link in there for a discovery call. If you're not getting answers, if you're not getting results, if you want true health, click that discovery call and we will set up a time to sit down with you and talk about everything. So when do you get the shingles shot? So you get the shingles shot if you're going to be eating poorly, if you're going to be stressing, if you're not going to be sleeping, if you're going to be letting your immune system get run down, then you might want to get the shingles shot. Because the shingles is going to be actually reactivated chickenpox, and it's when your body gets depleted enough. So if you're going to let your body get run down and you don't take care of yourself, maybe you want to get shingles shot. But if you want to take care of yourself and do everything you possibly can, then you probably don't need the shingles shot. All right, do hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's always go together? Great question. This is LCFJJF. Here's the deal. Hashimoto's will go with hypothyroid. If somebody has Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune thyroid thing, where you're attacking your thyroid or you're attacking the bus that transports it around the body, it will always go with hypothyroidism. Sometimes it can bounce into a hyper short term, but for the majority of time, it's going to be hypothyroid. And so if you have Hashimoto's, you have hypothyroid. And that you're either attacking the thyroid and not making enough T3 and T4, or you're not getting it transported around the body like you need to. But somebody can have a diagnosis of hypothyroid and not be Hashimoto's. So it can also be an underconversion. You have to convert T4 to T3 in your body, and so you may not be converting as well as you should. The other side could be that just a fatigue thyroid, where the thyroid just is not making enough itself, but it's not an autoimmune. And then the last one would be a pituitary that kicks out TSH is not working as well as it should. So if you have Hashimoto's, you have hypothyroid. Does that mean you have to go on medication? Not necessarily, but if you have Hashimoto's, you have hypothyroid. But if you have hypothyroid, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have Hashimoto's. But here's the deal, is that if you do have Hashimoto's, now you have to treat this as an autoimmune condition, not just as a low thyroid condition. All right, Hannah. Started keto a while back and my pain inflammation was so bad. I wanted to do it again to help control blood sugars. Any idea why I had so much pain and inflammation? Thank you. So here's the deal with a keto diet. Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart if someone's tried a keto diet before. There's good ways and bad ways to do a keto diet. So there's dirty keto, there's like bacon keto, where people are just eating bacon wrapped everything. So there's different types of fats that you want to be eating. And if you're eating a lot of meat, because remember, a real keto diet is about 70% fat, probably about 25% protein, and about 5% carbohydrate. So a real keto diet is not a high protein diet. So a lot of people are eating 4, 6, 8, 10 grams of or ounces of protein at each meal, and that's way too much protein. So maybe you were getting too much protein. Maybe you were getting protein from grain-fed sources. Maybe you were getting beef and other protein that was coming from grain-fed instead of grass-fed. That's going to increase omega-6s, the grain-fed, and that's going to create more inflammation. Maybe you weren't getting enough fat in there, and maybe it was stressing out your kidneys. So if you're doing a keto diet and you really want to do a keto diet, 70% fat, and you've got to be doing coconut oil, avocados, olive oil, butter, ghee, good fats, not safflower oil or sunflower or corn or soy. Any of those grain-based oils, get rid of those, or seed-based oils. You want to do the good quality fats, and then a moderate amount of protein and a minimal amount of carbohydrate. So that is probably what happened there, Hannah. And Hi from Tennessee. You guys have saved my husband's life. Thank you. This is Sheila Emerson in Tennessee. Great to see you. I imagine you've seen somebody down at the Tennessee office. We've got two amazing doctors down there, Dr. Sherry and Dr. Steiner, and they do amazing work. And so glad to hear that your husband's doing better. We just had a lady, her A1C, in 6 months, we went from like 13.2, 8.7, and now she's 6.6. Almost reversed her diabetes 100% from over 13, which is like crazy uncontrolled diabetes. Oh man, RA terribly painful in hand. Yep, so again, we've got to calm down that autoimmune. And we've got, holy cow, 83 more to answer here. Any options on the bioidentical testosterone pellets, female, and have had extreme low T since the 20s. So let's map this out. So again, I don't want to just say, yes, take testosterone or don't take testosterone. You've got to know the physiology. Where does testosterone come from in a female? Half of it comes from the adrenals and half of it comes from the ovaries. So if your ovaries are still there and they're still working, then it is usually an adrenal problem, meaning your adrenals are not making enough of the hormones to get that testosterone. Could be the DHEA, some other things. So then you figure, okay, why are the adrenals deficient in the first place? And so we look at, okay, maybe there's a chronic stress issue. So you had a bad childhood, you had sexual trauma as a teenager, you had all these different things could come about. So that needs to be dealt with. You've got to deal with those emotional side of things and help restore those adrenals. Then we get into the number one stressor to the adrenals is actually blood sugar swings, especially the dips. If you're having a hypoglycemia, you are going to be creating an adrenal stressful event every time that happens. So what does that mean? Well, you've got to get your blood sugar 85 to 110 all day long. You've got to keep that as stable as possible. And so when we are dealing with low testosterone, I guarantee you also have a low DHEA. Let me know. This is Nat Marie. Let me know what your DHEA is. It should be upwards of probably 300 if you're in your 30s. It should be upwards of 300. And if it's in the single digits, double digits, even hundreds, you are not going to be getting enough DHEA. DHEA converts into testosterone. I always say low testosterone in a female is directly proportional to the amount of stress that they're under. So if you just go and get a pellet in your hip, you're not fixing anything. You're not fixing the why. And I've seen some women go up to like 200, 300, 400 on their testosterone when they start getting those. Do you feel alopecia can be reversed? My 9-year-old son just got diagnosis. KKACY8, I don't know how you say that. But yeah, hey, alopecia, this is where hair starts falling out. You get autoimmune to those cells in the hair, and what happens? Yes, I've seen multiple patients that their alopecia went away and their hair grew back. So it's the same thought process. Why does he have an autoimmune disease? Not why is his hair falling out? So you've got to shift that thinking. And so you've got to look at, okay, his vitamin D needs to be up at 80. You've got to work on his leaky gut. You've got to make sure that his blood sugar is stabilized 85 to 110 all day long. You've got to look at the adrenals. Are they working like they need to? All of these different things. Check out, Jess, can you put a link down below for my YouTube channel and the autoimmune videos? I've got tons of autoimmune videos on there, 20, 30, 40 minutes long where you can watch, and I'll probably be doing a webinar here in the next month as well that will be good for that. So yes, drop us a line. I'd love to talk to you about this one. Click that link in the bio, schedule that discovery call, and let's talk through how we can help him. Because here's the deal. Yes, his hair's going to fall out. He's going to be made fun of in school and all that. But very good likelihood there's also going to be a lupus. There's going to be an MS. There's going to be a rheumatoid arthritis. Something else going on. I'm the one you said is a mess. Yeah. Hey, good to see you there, Winky. I have MTHFR and told I can't do hormones. So here's the deal. MTHFR, that's this methylation issue. You need to take methylated B vitamins. But here's the deal. Just because somebody has a methylation defect does not mean they can't, I'm assuming, can't make hormones as opposed to do hormones. And so it's kind of this cop-out that, well, I've got methylation. In fact, I'm not going to be able to function like I need to. It's really not like that. We see tons of people do way better. How do I fix my gut after chemotherapy? So here's the deal. When you are going to fix your gut, it doesn't matter whether it's chemotherapy, whether it's 3 months of antibiotics, like when I had 2 bullseye tick bites, Lyme disease, and I went on 3 months. You have to start with the basics. So here's the 4 R's. I just did a video earlier on this one as well. You guys can look that up. But you've got to replace any, one, saliva. You got to chew 30 times per bite. You've got to replace stomach acid if you're not breaking it down. You've got to replace bile salts if you don't have a gallbladder. Enzymes if you're seeing undigested food in the stool, and then in the large intestine you've got to replace fiber if you're not moving like you need to every day. Replace. Then you got to remove all potential food allergens, short-term, gluten, corn, soy, dairy, legumes, beans, those things, nuts and seeds, all that stuff, autoimmune paleo diet, 2 to 4 weeks. And then you need to also remove any pathogens, oil of oregano, wormwood, garlic, things like that, kill off bad stuff, yeast, bacteria, and then re-inoculate with good bacteria. And it may take 2 or 3 cycles of kill off, build up, kill off, build up. And then you need to repair that gut lining. Glutamine, marshmallow root, aloe vera juice, all these different things are going to be huge to just help start healing up that gut lining. And let's go over here. Melanie, perfect timing on this. Thank you. You are so welcome. Sylvia, what is best for detoxing the liver? When we want to think about detoxing the liver, the liver is not this thing that holds on to toxins. So we don't need to wring it out. We don't need to like scour it, make sure that it's screening things out better. That is not what the liver does. The liver changes the chemical formation from insoluble to water soluble. So if I painted, this white kind of paint stuff on here, and it got on my hands, I could wash it off. But if I was staining my deck, I could not wash that off. I would have to get some turpentine or gasoline or whatever. And so here's the deal. In your liver, it changes things from that insoluble to water soluble, then we can be excreted, but it doesn't hold on to it. That's why things like cod liver oil, really there's no concern with eating cod liver because it's not holding on to the toxins, and that's not what happens. So when we want to detoxify the liver, we want to actually improve detoxification pathways in the liver. And so it's a different mindset, but it's the physiology, and that's what we have to do. So there's phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification. There's specific nutrients that do that. We take out certain foods for that duration, and we make those changes. So yes, absolutely 100%. You need to detoxify your liver, but it's not detoxifying the liver. It's helping the liver detoxify your body better and enabling it to be able to do those things. So that's the important part there. Can you help with panic attacks? This is Linda. Absolutely, but you have to figure out where the panic attacks are coming from. I always talk about random anxiety. If anybody has seen one of those videos, give me a heart, give me a thumbs up. So random anxiety, we see this all the time in women, especially even teenage girls. So they'll be sitting there, they'll be in class taking notes, whatever, and they start feeling this random anxiety. It just gets revved up. In the middle of the night, somebody will wake up and they're lying, they've got a towel down because they're going to wake up in this puddle of sweat, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I was just being chased by a mountain lion, but they're like, no mountain lions here. So what is going on? Number one reason why we see panic attacks, and especially this random anxiety, is the blood sugar is dipping down. That blood sugar is going to go down too low. You're going to get hypoglycemic. And physiologically, remember, you got to always go back to the physiology, is the adrenal glands get stimulated to tell the liver to kick out stored glucose. So then we get adrenaline flowing through the body. And I've seen teenage girls, when we check their blood sugar, they're in the 30s and 40s. I don't want you under 80. When you're in the 30s and 40s, and you've got this adrenaline dump, and they're texting mom going, I'm freaking out, I gotta go home, come get me, all this. It's not that it's just, ooh, I have anxiety, it's that their blood sugar is that jacked. So if you're having panic attacks, stabilize your blood sugar ASAP. Yep. So Winky, I'm the one you said is a mess. Thyroid, RA, kidney, hypocalcemia, lupus, Addison's. Yeah, so here's the deal. The average person with an autoimmune disease has multiple autoimmune diseases. So if you have Hashimotos, it's not just you have to worry about Hashimotos, and I'm not saying go worry about it, but not that you have to just think about Hashimotos. You've got to think about, hey, what other systems is my body being attacked in? And that's the big thing that we're looking at is we have systems that are being attacked when we have autoimmune. And it can go from lupus to Sjogren's to RA to Hashimoto's to MS to all these different autoimmune conditions. So if you have one, there's a very good chance there's multiple. You've got to calm it down. So you've got to come in system by system by system and correct those. All right, let's see what's going on over here. What is the optimal copper range? Heather, I don't have that offhand. We don't check copper very often. We were told to take zinc to help balance it out. Is that safe for pregnant women to take? Yes, zinc absolutely is okay for pregnant women to take. Angie Lane just became a top 1 viewer. Good job, thank you. And she sent a rose, appreciate that. All right, white blood cell, red blood cell, platelets elevated high, but MCH and MCV low. What does that mean? So a lot of times I would like to see what your ferritin is doing. This is Mug 22, what your ferritin is doing, because usually MCV and MCH, and also your hemoglobin, MCV and MCH, if that's low, that's usually an iron issue. And so I would want to look at the ferritin, but if the white blood cell count is elevated, that is usually indicative of some kind of infection, and usually an acute infection. So something may be inflamed there. If you haven't dug deep, you need to look at that. Saw Dr. Steiner, he was great. Kaylee, stuff is a mess. Jenny from the other block, yes, awesome. Yeah, Dr. Steiner, he is. He's been doing this a long time. With all of our FA doctors, we have over 100 years in practice and just so much great information. Is RA or PSA psoriasis? Maybe, I'm not sure. PSA reversible or psoriatic arthritis, maybe what you're talking about. So yes, I've seen people's arthritis. Again, the joint that's deformed or your finger that's bent like this, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, that's not going to go back and go straight. That joint that's been damaged is not going to be fully movable. But can you stop that damage from taking place? Absolutely. We've got patients, that they're RA, they stop destroying all their tissues. Psoriatic arthritis, I've seen psoriasis just on the skin, that full-blown, peeling on the legs, hands that are cracked and bleeding, all that, and totally get better. The skin totally heal up. Yes, we've seen amazing changes in there. And good morning, busy, be lucky, good to see you. What about gastroparesis? It's crazy. Almost every time I do a live, gastroparesis comes up. Think about this, guys. Gastroparesis is where you're throwing up every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. I have a patient down in our Denver office, 10 years she'd been throwing up daily, and the doctors gave her all these drugs, tried all of these things. Within 30 days, we had her not throwing up anymore. That's probably a year and a half ago, and she loves F8, sends everybody our way because she's like, oh my gosh, you guys are my angel. I was literally throwing up every day. And so you've got to go through that entire digestive tract, figure out what's out of balance. So yes. What about Crohn's disease? Yeah, here's the deal with Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease, autoimmune, digestive tract, inflammation, really damaged. Hey, Miss Kelly, thank you for the rose there. Just really damaged in that gut lining. But it's not just a gut thing. We don't just take probiotics. We don't just take some enzymes, whatever. You've got to calm down that autoimmune. If your blood sugar is jacked, if your adrenals are out of balance, if your thyroid is off, if you're exposed to all these chemicals, all these different things, then yes, you need to you need to calm that down and not just focus on the gut. If all you do is focus on the gut, but you're not fixing other reasons why you have an autoimmune disease, you are not going to get it fixed. So you've got to look through that whole wheel that we talk about to get those. And psoriasis, again, we talked about that. We see that healed up all the time. Let's see. I have all of those. This is real estate, life rocks. I have all those. I hate it. How do I calm it down? So again, you've got to do an in-depth blood panel. If your doctor has not done this, if they won't look at it from our optimal range, you've got to do in-depth blood panel where you're looking at hormones and thyroid and inflammation and other autoimmune markers and all these things. And then we say, okay, let me go through this circle. We look at, is the blood sugar stabilized between 85 and 110 all day long? Are the adrenals working like they're supposed to, the cortisol and DHEA? Is there leaky gut? Do we need to heal up that gut lining? Is the vitamin D at 80? Do we have any chronic infections like Epstein-Barr or H. pylori, things like that? Are we dealing with estrogenic events where you're not clearing out your estrogen like you're supposed to? Are we dealing with environmental toxins? You're living in a moldy house, any of those things. You've got to deal with all of those before just thinking about how do I suppress that immune system. Let's see. Anything that helps rosacea, started in menopause and has really affected my lips with broken capillaries and breakouts. So much heat still in my body after menopause. So Julie, I wouldn't be surprised if there is some type of autoimmune that got flared up. And you've got to, yes, you've got to look at hormones and all those things, but I would definitely take another step back and look at your liver, look at your gut, look at your microbiome, look at your brain. Are you in a chronic fight or flight state? All these different things, and that can make a huge difference. And how should one stabilize their blood sugar in those moments? So here's the deal, and this is DLove117. So how do you stabilize your blood sugar when it's out of balance? Well, let's take a step back and figure out how do we get our blood sugar stabilized so we don't have to stabilize it when it's out of balance. Well, and that's by using a continuous glucose monitor. Every one of our new patients that we start care with gets a continuous glucose monitor as well as a finger prick glucose monitor. So if you don't have a CGM, you can do your own finger prick glucose monitoring. And you want to check your foods and you figure out why it's going up, why it's going down. I don't have a CGM right now, but if I did, you would see my morning and it would go like this all morning long because I know what I need to eat and how I need to eat to keep that blood sugar as steady as possible. And that's what our patients come away with. So you learn, and this is what you need to do, you learn how to not go low, how to not go high. So let's get into it though. What do you do if that blood sugar does spike up? If you're feeling, or you check it and it's 150, whatever, do a bunch of air squats, do some jumps, go out and jog a little bit, go for a walk. You get some muscle contraction. Muscle contraction is going to pull glucose out of the bloodstream even without the use of insulin. So if it goes too high, you got to do some activity. If it goes low, then you need to, you don't go drink a bunch of orange juice or candy or whatever. You could get a little piece of fruit. You could get some things like that that are going to have a little bit of carbohydrate, but enough to go up, but not enough to spike, because then your body freaks out and then pulls it down again, and you just get on this roller coaster there. Had a positive ANA, but doctor can't pinpoint my issue. What do I do dealing with body pain and fatigue? So this is Ashley Hallman. So Ashley, here's the deal. ANA, we run this on every one of our blood work panels. ANA is going to show us, okay, do you have autoimmune activity in your body? Yes, ANA is positive, but that is not definitive for, it could be Sjogren's, it could be lupus, it could be mixed connective tissue disorder. It's not definitive for any of this. And I've seen so many patients that have come in, their doctor's like, you've got high ANA, something's going on, but I don't know what it is. And they, so they get in there and they maybe give them a immunosuppressant, something like that. But here's the deal. We've got to figure out why your body is attacking itself. So it almost doesn't matter. I almost don't care what the named autoimmune condition is. I've had so many patients where ANA was high, they never got an official diagnosis, but we calmed it down and we pulled them back from autoimmune, and now they're living a great life. And so that is totally possible. Again, if you're not getting the solutions, click that link in the bio, schedule that discovery call, and we would love to talk you through this process of how you can get your life back. Because really, it's not a lack of drugs, it's not a lack of surgery, it's not even a lack of supplements. You've got to know that you give your body more of the good stuff, less of the bad stuff, the body inside out. And this is our philosophy different here at F8. Your body is designed to be healthy. And from the inside out, it can heal. There's no amount of outside stuff that's going to heal you. It's got to be your own immune system, your own nervous system, your brain. All these different things are going to heal from the inside out. Hey, Carrie Rex, help for MS? Absolutely. We have a lot of patients that have reversed their plaquing, got rid of their plaquing, all types of different things. So help for MS, absolutely. And it is, it's one of those, my mom, she doesn't have MS anymore. She's 79 years old. She got rid of her wheelchair. She does Granny Boot Camp, all kinds of cool stuff. So if you need help with that, reach out. We'd love to talk to you about it. Cindy Doherty, is this a pre-recorded video? No, I am live. This is me. Can you believe it? And I don't think you can do that on TikTok Live or Facebook Live or YouTube Live. I don't think you can do lives from before. I have blood clots, seeing a hematologist. Could I have leukemia or anemia? Blood clots can come from a lot of different things. The way to rule out anemia, it can either be an iron anemia, so you want to test ferritin, or it could be a B12 folic acid pernicious anemia, so you want to look at the MCV and MCH on either of those. Let's go here. Sjogren's, salivary glands. Yeah, Sjogren's is a tough one. So you don't salivate like you need to. You don't get fluid in your eyes. The tear ducts are damaged. So here's the deal. This is Shay G778. If you have Sjogren's, very good chance you also have lupus, very good chance you have mixed connective tissue, very good chance you have some other type of autoimmune condition. So if all they've done is try to suppress that immune system, they're not fixing the why, and you're going to get some other type of autoimmune. So you've got to fix the why. You've got to take that step back and go, okay, all those things that I've been talking about, you've got to run through those, make sure they're working as well as possible. Can those things be fixed? Here's a simple thing. Try this one for me. I go through and I will do a little pressure and squeeze on those tear ducts, and I'll go down on the upper eyelid and up on the lower eyelid, and just enough pressure like this, and to where it feels like it's kind of milking them, and then you blink your eyes. So anybody, if you have dry eyes, try this one right now. Do one eye and go gently, not in the eyeball, but just underneath those eyelashes, and you're just pushing on the ducts right at the edge there, and then blink, and you'll feel it. You're like, holy cow! Especially here in Colorado or dry places, it'll be like, man, that other one is kind of dry and scratchy, and this one's really lubricated. So try that. Do that a couple times a day, and that can actually start stimulating those cells to start working again. So give that a shot. My blood sugar dropped really bad last night. Should you go to the ER next time that happens? So Bobby Brock, that's up to you. If you're depends how low it is and depends what your symptoms are. Depends what your symptoms are. But here's the deal. Don't let that blood sugar drop that low. It's probably you're spiking up and then crashing down. So do not spike up. You need to eat stabilized meals. If it's that you're like this and then it crashes down, you're not getting enough fat in there as well. So if your blood sugar is crashing down, you've got to take massive, massive action. Do not let that blood sugar spike up. You've got to start checking your blood sugar on a regular basis or get a CGM. We could have this fixed in 2 weeks. Your blood sugar could be stabilized. It's that easy. Does it all start with that one disease? I'm not sure what that means. Melancholy Acres. Ask that again, I'm not sure. Do you have anything you suggest people begin doing while they wait for the first appointment and blood work to be done? I'll go to Nashville in mid-November. Awesome, Angela. That'll be great. You'll see, again, Dr. Steiner, Dr. Sherry down there. So what can you do right now? Start paying attention. If you want, you can get a finger prick glucose monitor and start checking what you're eating, and just start poking your finger and seeing when it goes up, when it goes down. Do more of the good stuff, less of the bad stuff. So I would look into doing some of that. Start paying attention. Start writing down what you're eating. Start taking more inventory of your life and paying more attention. I don't want you to start a bunch of supplements or quit taking things or whatever. Just keep doing what you've been doing as far as that goes. But otherwise, while you're waiting to get seen and come in November, let's just start becoming more aware of what's going on, and that can make a massive change there. I have Hashimoto's and allergic to the medication. So have you tried, this is darkness reigns. Have you tried any of the T3, T4 combos, the natural ones, like any of the Armor, Nature Throid, NP Thyroid, any of those? See if that can be helpful. I've got autoimmune after removal of craniopharyngioma, and now my pituitary doesn't function. Yeah, that stinks, and you've got to, again, if you've got autoimmune after that, it's probably attacking other places in the body as well, and so you've got to calm that down. You've got to get that done. What do you do for leaky gut? Again, we just talked about this. That's going to be the 4 R's. You replace any enzymes, stomach acid, bile salts, fiber, things like that. You need to remove any pathogens, yeast, bad bacteria, remove any food allergens, gluten, corn, soy, dairy, take out nuts and seeds, legumes, all these potential inflammatory foods. You need to repair. You come in with glutamine, marshmallow root, aloe vera juice, slippery elm, all of those things. And then you need to re-inoculate with good bacteria. So absolutely. I have super high cortisol and DHEA and 3 autoimmune. Yeah, DDZ life. So yeah, you are in this chronic adrenal hyper state, and so your adrenals are going to be telling your immune system go, and that's going to be a huge part of where this is coming from. So you got to figure out why those adrenals are so revved up. It may be between your ears. If you're local to Colorado, Tennessee, if you can get into one of those offices, let's do a brain map and see if you have a high alpha wave. If you do, you're going to be in this chronic fight or flight, chronic high adrenal state, and it is not going to be functioning as well as it should. So do I have to give up all sugars or chocolate? So this is no name on that one. So do you have to give up all sugars and chocolate? Here's the deal. If you have a continuous glucose monitor on, you are going to be able to tell. And could you have some honey? Could you have some maple syrup? Could you have some 80% dark chocolate and your blood sugar doesn't change? Absolutely. But if you have autoimmune condition, you have to keep your blood sugar 85 to 110 all day, every day. So here's the deal, guys. I've got to jump. I got to go see patients. If you need help, if you need support, if you're not getting the answers, if all they want to do is just give you a drug, do a surgery, suppress your immune system, whatever it is, you are not getting to the root cause. You're not getting the solutions. You're not going to get fixed. And even if you work with us, we don't fix you. We give your body the ability to fix itself and to heal. And that's the most important difference between what we do at F8 versus the traditional PCP specialist, whatever, is that they're looking from an outside-in perspective. What can I give this person? What can I cut out of them? What drug can I give them to suppress something or inhibit an enzyme or whatever it is? That does not heal. Healing is an inside-out thing, and that's what I want you guys to understand. The philosophy is the biggest difference between what we do and everybody else does. So if you need help, if you need support, if you know there's a better way, a different way, something that is going to change your life that you have not been given the opportunity to, that's what we're here to give you. We're here to give you that hope. Well, I'm basically a hope dealer. That's my intention every single day that I go out and do videos and create content and connect with you guys and teach and train and help my doctors, everything, is I want everyone to have hope that there truly is a way for them to heal. And that's what we're going to find within you. And if we can't, we're going to get you to somebody that we can. So no matter where you are in the US, Canada, wherever you are, we can get blood work done locally. We can get that done, get the results back in a week, sit down with you, let you know exactly what's going on and how we can change your life. So love you guys. Be well. Talk soon. Put down any other questions you have below. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, subscribe to that channel. Over 700 videos, tons of information out there. My goal is to give so much that you can heal yourself. And if you can't do that, we're here to help you as well. So go, be strong, get your body as dialed in as possible, and we're here to give you any support you need. Take care, guys.